We have a bag before us, and in this bag is a nice guitar signed by Whitesnake, Black Sabbath, and a couple of other big bands and the names on them. And it's a very unique guitar. Let me just bring it out for you. It's a Westone X300 made in Japan guitar. It's a lovely colour. It's got Floyd Rose pickup on it. Sorry, locking nuts. You know how unpopular I think of those. These are Stevie Vai pickups, special Stevie Vai pickups, and the names I'm going to go through for you now. And it's got a pot switch as well. So I'm going to go through it all, get it all cleaned up and tied up, but I'll go through the names on this for you now. Mike Devon, Whitesnake and Thin Lizzy. Marco Mendoza, formerly of Thin Lizzy, Ted Nugent, Whitesnake, The Dead Daisies, Journey and Blue Murder, and Black Star. And that is Doug Aldrich. He's Whitesnake, Dion, Leon, Hurricane, House of Lords, Bad Moon Rising and Revolution Saints. He's currently a member of the Dead Daisies, and he played with Deep Purple and Whitesnake, did I say? Okay. So it's a Floyd Rose licensed. It's a big chunky thing, but it's a little bit better than some of the ones that I saw, because the ones that I saw sit too close to the neck. And this is Whitesnake, Born to be Bad. Just like myself. Right, so this looks okay. Might need some adjusting because that's too close to the body for my comfort. So I might do some adjustment here to try to get it away from the body and up a bit. Just a bit. Pickups, good position. Neck looks straight. But we're going to go through this with a fine-tooth comb, replace the strings, check the frets and everything. So let's get started. Right, we'll listen to the electrics first. Make sure all the electrics are working well, because it's had some work done to it, and so we need to make sure. Yeah, that's loose, needs to be tightened. That is loose, right? So that is the humbucker. Boosts it. Okay, so it's all working. Okay, that's all working. That's not quite what I want, but I'll do something about that. Now that I find the electrics are working, except for that needs to be fixed, I'm going to... Georgie girl, are you watching? Are you learning? So you're going to have your own YouTube channel fixing guitars, are you? Right, I'm going to check the neck straightness and see where we go to with the neck straightness. Yeah, that's a seriously straight neck. Right, so we're going to just check fret leveling just quickly. Fat frets, very fat. Those are probably the fattest fret. Georgie girl, don't get in my way, please. She just bit me. She nipped at me. She didn't bite me. She never bites seriously, but she nips when she gets annoyed, because I was where she was, and she didn't want me to be where she was. And I'm also talking to you, and she doesn't like that. She likes... No, those are all fine. There's nothing wrong with those frets. They're a bit dirty looking, but they'll be polished up and cleaned. Very, very tiny dots. Let's have a look at the back. Back plate's missing. Westone, got a serial number. I think those are... Don't, Georgie girl. Those are... What do you call it? No, my brain's not working. Although that's a Westone pickup. but they're a pickup made by a specialist guitar people. So I'm going to have a look at that and give it a clean up, put a new back plate on it, because that's a new block that's been put on for the Floyd Rose. It may need to be adjusted somewhat, the block, so that it doesn't. Right, okay, so cut these strings off, Georgie girl. Oh, I like it, because the locking nut's not doing anything. Good. I don't want it to do anything. Georgie girl, stop it. She's sticking her claws into me because I'm doing something. Look, you don't own this place. Does it smell of cigarettes? No, it doesn't. No, I don't know why it's... I thought it smelled of something like cigarettes. It doesn't. I'm going to have a look at that Floyd Rose, because when it's licensed under Floyd Rose, it doesn't mean to say it's an actual copy. Sometimes they can be better than a Floyd Rose, the copies, because they add some bits to them. Georgie girl, you're being very naughty tonight. What's your problem? You can't see her off camera, but she's nipping away at me because she's sitting there and I'm in her space. Oh, she's going to jump down now. She's huffing now. You have to know the moods of these cats. There, she's around the other side because she's huffing with me. So the locking nut's not working. And why is the locking nut not working? What's missing off it? There's something missing off it. There's some bolts or screws, or yeah, the bolts are missing from it. But I'm not going to put them back on because I don't like those locking nuts. As you probably all know, I've moaned about them all the time. I'm not that fussy on the Floyd Rose things either, but that's just me. Right? These ones are slightly different because the strings come through them, rather than having to be tightened up with an Allen key, which I quite like that. That's a nice improvement. Other Floyd Rose, you've got to tighten up with an Allen key here to get the strings in. This goes through those as a tube by the look of it. Right, okay. I don't know what that is you're eating, and I don't like it, so don't eat it. Something smells. Maybe there is some smoky smell of it. Let me just check it again. Let me just smell it again. No smoke. No. Let me check the case. No smoky smell from the case either. It must be just me. And I don't smoke. Right, okay. What's next? Next, straight. Pickups need cleaned. It all needs to be cleaned. And be careful not to clean those. Interesting tone knob. I'll find out some more about this guitar. These are loose, need to be adjusted. They're loose. And let me just make sure. And that's loose as well. So it's going to need some tightening. Okay. Nice guitar. I'll look up what the value of it is next. You see how soft that spring is? I think that might be part of the problem why this was too close, because the spring's so soft it's pulled back with the strings. So the springs need to be tightened up, which I'll do, and that'll bring this up a little bit too. Alright. Yeah, okay. Alright, okay, pause now, and we'll come back to you when I'm ready to start doing the cleaning of this area and adjusting of this area. A little bit of damage down in there. Actually not bad for a guitar that's from the 80s, but we'll see. I'll find out more about it and come back to you. Alright, I can confirm that that's a DiMarzio Stevie Vai Storm pickup. It's called a Gravity Storm pickup. What that all means, I don't know, but I know it's good. These are the pickups that belong with the Westone, and they're good pickups too. Pity they're so rusty, but I'm going to try to take off the cover and clean them up. First thing I'm going to look at is this, to see what I can do to bring it down to a more respectable level for the... Let me just take this off. Can I take this off? Is it nut? Yes, it's nut. So it's, oh, is it not, is it jammed? Oh, this might be jammed. Let me just try this without doing any damage to it. Let's just see. It looks like it's been bent. Yeah, it looks like it might need some sort of tool. Let me just see. To find out what's wrong with it. Nylon nut. Come on, come out. Nylon nut, and that's the top nut. And then there's this, which it definitely has been bent. Wrong one. Am I silly for taking this off? Because it definitely has been bent. I don't know where you can see the shape's been bent. Let's just see. Maybe the rock and rollers swung on it too much. Doing white snaky things. Those poor choppies wouldn't get much sales from me because I don't think I know of one White Snake song that's, or I know some the Thin Lizzy songs, so good for them for doing Thin Lizzy, but White Snake, oh, never my scene. I'm almost wondering if I should leave it in there and bend it, because if I take it out, what am I going to find when I take it out? I'll take it out. Screaming at me, "Don't take me out!" There we go. Right. So I think you can see that it's misshaped. It's misshapen. I think you can see that. So I have another trim arm here. Would it fit? Would you believe it? It fits perfectly. I think that might be a better idea than trying to force that misshapen one in. Although I will try to straighten that tomorrow. But how do you straighten something that's got a bend on the thread? That's another. But I have a trim arm there that fits, so that's an option. We'll see. So we'll put this slightly back together just to hold it in place while I clean up the Floyd Rose. Check it, oil it. It's got a special little washer there that doesn't slide around. It turns with the thread, which is very nice. I must admit, I don't understand these washers that are got a slice through them. What they're there for, what they do, I'm not sure. I'm sure there's something special about them. Right, okay, Floyd Rose there. Now what's going on here? It looks like the Floyd Rose is an aftermarket thing that they put on this. So they put in these studs, stands, and they haven't done what you would call the greatest of job of putting them in. A better job than probably that I would have done. But just checking the wiring. I think that it needs to be cleaned up there. Not going to start cleaning up yet. I'm going to have a look at underneath this pickup. Am I? Yes, because the screws are dirty. So I'm going to take that pickup off just to get the screws cleaned. I'm going to take that pickup off to see if I can take off the black cover to clean those. And then put a little drop of oil on them. But let's have a look at the electrics at the back. I know you're all excited about that. You're all excited to see what they've done with the electrics, because so am I, because they've done some work with it. And I would like to see, and put the covers on properly, I would like to see what their handiwork is like. Also, as you can see, that's black there and that's silver, so I'm going to try to do something with that to bring that up. I think actually that's stainless steel rather than chrome, so let's have a look and see what they've done in the way of wiring. Quite neat for a human job rather than a factory job, should I say. I'll just bring you down. Quite neatly soldered. Tone pots, everything's done. Lots of excess wire. Okay, I need to tighten this up, so I'm going to do that. And ones that there's nothing here to grip on the outside, except for it's got a whatchamacallit, a ribbed or a bezeled edge on it, which that's right, it's not turning anymore, so that's a good thing. I like the switch because the switch is very simple. It's one of those simple old-fashioned switches from the 80s, which I like. The screw holes have all gone too wide, so it's toothpick time. I'm going to have, when I'm rich and famous, I'm going to have a glue holder. Somebody to hold the glue for me and say, glue, scalpel, scissors, screwdriver. When I'm rich and famous. It's slightly bent in the middle, so that's tight. And the screws have been cleaned, and that wood glue will hold the pick guard inside. I'll need that. I'm going to loosen that a little bit more. Those are good screws, I tell you. They must have come with the, they're very loose, but those screws must have come with the Floyd Rose, because those are stainless steel, very nice screws. Okay, so while I've got it on its back, let's take the neck off and see what's beneath, what lies beneath, because those screws are ridiculous. Have they ever been taken off before? I don't know. It says Matsumoku product, made in Japan, Westone. Very nicely made guitar. I didn't look up the year of this, but I looked up the model, and they're well sought after models. Now, generally speaking, you could buy one of these for $300, $350. But with the DiMarzio pickup and the modified Floyd Rose, which keeps slipping my brain, I think you probably get $450, $500 for this, because it is a Japanese made, good quality guitar. The signatures, what would they add to it? You tell me, because I don't know what these White Snake people are like. Oh God, isn't that coming off? See, here's the problem. Leaving it on is only leaving a problem for the next luthier should they ever have to work on it. But what happens if I break the screw in it? I'd have to replace it. That's what would happen. But because I see a lot of rust around here, I don't know whether you can see the rust on it, but I can see a lot of rust. Let me just show you down as close as I can. Yeah, there's a lot of rust along the edge here and in there and in there. And that's those are very black compared to the others. I'm going to let that sit. I think I'm going to work on some other part of the guitar, but I'm going to let that sit with a little bit more in there, because I'd like to take them off. You can see the wee bubbles. I'd like to take them off and clean them, and I'd like to take that off and protect it so it doesn't rust anymore. So I'm going to let that work. I'll take one of the top pickups off just to see if we can. See, there's the soldering in there. And what's that there? That's a piece of, there's a piece of string. Yeah, some piece of string broken off. So just see, oh, this is stiff. It's so stiff. Yeah, okay. This word here, Pantera, it's on all Westone X300s. They have a few names that they call themselves. You would think that that would be on springs, wouldn't you? You know, if you loosen that, it would come up and down. So maybe the springs, don't think they're on springs, that's for sure. Well, before I take that out, let me see if there's any movement on the black. Oh, there is. The black head seems to be coming off. Ah, right, okay, that's okay. That's all I need to know. The black plastic's coming off. Right. Now the black plastic has come off. There are no springs there, it's a bit of sponge. Let me get a bit of tissue and clean out the muck and guck and dirt behind there. I don't want to play with them too much because I don't want to break any of those. Right, okay. Any of those two wires that are holding it in. So, muck and guck. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use this little block. It's too fierce. So. Now one of them has got a dome on it. None of the others have a dome on it. I think it just might be a fluke. Right. I think I'm using the block when I shouldn't be using the block. I should be using something softer, and I think this might be the thing. Right, we ran out of disc space, but you didn't miss much because I finished using the rubber sponge, and then I used some acetone, which I'm just going to use again. Acetone on it just to clean the metal. Just to go over the metal to make sure there's no grease on it. Because my next step, as you may have guessed, is going to be a little drop of metal lacquer on each of those to try to delay it ever getting rusty again or corroded again. And again on this, I think I'm going to try another toothpick. Oh no, I tell you what I'll do. I'll use well, that's a good one. I don't want to waste those. I'm going to use a bamboo. Use this bamboo stick in and just put it on the top of each one. And all I want this to do is stop it going black again as quickly in future. Doesn't affect the sound in the slightest. Excuse me, Georgie girl, I don't want you playing about with it. She's got the springs. She thinks the springs are hers. Of course the springs are hers, but you can see the difference between there and there. When that's dry, I'll put the black cap on again. I'm going to clean this, and I'll come back to you whenever I'm sure that's dry, okay? So I'm going to clean this and come back to you later. Right, that's not quite dry yet, but I can't just shut down everything whenever I want to wait for something to dry. So I'm going to try to do this one next without disturbing the one that's drying. And also cross of myself, so I can't really do anything. Because as I was saying to you, it was my stupidity that made me do that one first, when I should have been thinking ahead. But then again, I'm not Einstein. I fix guitars. And not even for a living do I fix guitars. I just fix guitars. So, right, okay. I'm going to pause. I'm going to get a drink, sit down, watch a bit of TV. That looks a little bit dull. I think if it was me with these signatures, I would put a little bit of tape across there and there, square tape, and just spray that gloss, a hard gloss all over it. And when you take the tape off, there will be an edge there and there. But that's one way of protecting those signatures from ever being rubbed off, and that means you can clean your guitar constantly. And the same there, put a square there and spray it. And that means you can clean your guitar. You have to put a little bit of tape around there too to stop it going down the edges, but better than having that rub off, because that does look like, let me just do a little trial on it. Let me just do a little trial on it. It's not coming off, it's indelible. But how indelible over the years? Stupid boy. I don't know whether you can see, but I can't move these pickups too far. 90-1502. I'm going to Unfortunately, I can't lift the pickups any further because the wiring is so tight. I can't even turn the pickup around without breaking it. It says something on the other side of the pickup. I might be able to take a picture of it and show it on the screen, but I can't. I don't want to bend it too much. So let's just see if I can take a picture. Let's have a look and see if it shows me anything. Yeah, DiMarzio pickup made in the USA. I'll show you that on the screen. Just proves I'm not a liar. Right there. Yeah, that's the good thing is there's dirt there, as you can see, but the good thing is that it's coming off and leaving them the way they should be. And the other good point is that the black points in the inside are not rusted. That's not rust, that was just dirt on them. So that's a nice little bonus for them. Okay. These, I don't think I can do anything with. What I might try to do is find some red. I don't have a red to match the color, but I might do some red bluffing. Let me just see if I can find some little bit of red that can maybe bluff. I don't know, can you see the damage the points have had? Can you see the little bits of damage? I'm going to pause, find some red. This is the only red I have, but I have a feeling it's going to be too pink. But it's better than bare wood. So we'll just try and fill up the gaps with this. So what I'm going to do is get a black pen and cover up the pink areas that I've just drawn. Supposed to be red. Nice stuff. It's very good stuff, but it's not doing the job. Okay. So the next job is I'm going to clean that knob while it's in position. Now you're going to see me doing some very technical stuff soon, because that's bent. As you can see, it's bent. So what I'm going to hope it doesn't snap when I bend it straight. Right, okay, it didn't. Okay. Really don't like the fact that I'm going to leave the white snake sticker on. Right, I'm going to set it up so we can do the neck now. Do the neck, frets, they do need dressed, and the head, okay? Well, now that I have that little idea about bending that and getting it straight, I think I'm going to put this back in again first before I touch the neck, and clean it when it's inside the neck. Or will I do that, because will that be hard to get in? No, I'm going to put the trim arm on first. So let's just move that over first, because you'll need to have 2 sets of spanners and you might scratch the body by putting it in. So let's just put that in there first. Well, that looks a lot better. So, and the truss rod is sort of firm. It's not swinging about madly. So I think we can call that a success, can't we? It'd be better if it'd been more of a success with me having the right tools. So I'm going to put that in there. Turn this around. let it sit there. Georgia girl has finished playing with the springs. Yeah, that's fine. Because the strings will pull it up like that, and then you'll have the both action both ways. So don't like that. Don't like the fact that it's got more leverage than I wanted. Maybe with the test that I did, it's so I'm going to have to tighten that up. Yeah, that's fine now. Why didn't I do that in the first place, you ask? Because something's always better done 5 times than twice. I might put another second coat on that when it dries, but that should reduce the going black in the future. Okay, that is it for tonight. Drink. Should I have a Guinness? Now, I think you can see okay. I've got the window open, well, window light. My TV screen doesn't show very clear, but I think you see clear enough. But you can see these frets have been worn the whole way down, but not a great deal, but it's been played. So I'm going to do a little bit of fret dressing on them with this first, just to bring them down a bit. I'm not going to try to take out all the fret wear on it, because it doesn't need to be taken out. And these are wide frets, so the reason why I'm leaving a little bit on it is because that little bit doesn't do any harm. And why bring it down further than it needs to be brought down? Shorten the life of the frets more than they need to be shortened. So I'll just bring it down a bit. Okay, and if you look closely you see little dots, but nothing much. So I'm not going to take the whole fret down just for the sake of the appearance, so it'll play well as it is. That was up against the frets. You see a little bit of green there, because the frets sometimes, when they get older, they start to corrode a bit, and the brass that's inside it goes green. Let's see, I want to get that gunk out. You don't want them to look corroded. Right, now I'm going to give that fretboard a good clean. Now the way I'm going to do that is a little bit rough. A little bit rough. But don't do it all too often. If you're going to do it once every couple of years to give it a good clean. And don't let that sit. That water will get behind the frets, but make sure you're in a warm, dry room and the guitar stays in a good, warm, dry room to get that out. Now, what I'm going to do now is oil this fretboard, and that will chase away the blues. I made sure that I didn't do this on a very cracked neck. Anyway, oil. oil and use gloves. Don't do as I do. Use gloves, children. And don't do as I do, do as I say. I doubt this fretboard's ever been oiled. I'm going to not wipe it all off. I want some of it to go into the frets and round the frets and round the fretboard. And then I'm going to let that sit, and I'm going to clean the head next. Now, if I have any screws, they'll be in this box. So there's one. Does it fit? It has to fit two. That fits. There's two. Something not right in there. And I've got two. But I have, those are black string trees. Now there's a full set that go in there, brand new. I'll have to find out if the owner wants to replace the nuts and those. But I tell you what we'll do now, we'll just take those two out and we'll take that off to see what lies beneath. Now I know that the neck in this is ultra straight, so I don't need to take the truss rod off. Okay, so let's look what lies beneath. Right, what's this here? What is this here? What is this sitting at an odd angle? Oh, it's one of the I see why this truss rod cover, oops, excuse me, the truss rod cover is meant to hold it, but it's broken off at some stage. So they built the truss rod cover to hold one of the screws, which is not a great idea, and that's broken. So that would sit there and hold it. So that truss rod cover is a weird truss rod cover. Just this part sits on each side of it to fit inside. So that's really not going to be any use unless they replace the truss rod cover. And I don't think that I would make a truss rod cover to fit there, because that I would expect that to be strong, but there's nothing in there, and I'm just going to clean this in the meantime, tighten these up first, and think about that while I'm cleaning that little bit of head up. I think the best thing to do is just do away with the locking nut altogether. But that is going to be a decision that the owner can make. But I'm going to put it on and make it look pretty. Now, those knobs don't look particularly nice, so why do they not look nice? Why? Let me see if one will come off without any hassle. I hope no springs or anything like that. Oh, they've had black paint painted on brass. So yeah, they're brass screws. So let's make them brass again. Oh, you can't see. You can't see. Right. That's my mistake. Sorry. Hey, what? No point in wasting the camera. I'll come back to you when they're all done. Okay, that's them polished up. Now they're going to get a drop of lacquer on them after I've cleaned them with some acetone. Brain's not working, still not working the brain. A little bit of 3-in-1 oil and take out the little copper bullets and dip the end in the oil and just put them in the Right, so now we're going to put a set of strings on, aren't we? When I say we, I mean me, and you are going to advise me, like you always advise me. Even when I'm doing something wrong, you scream at the screen and say, don't do that, Austin, don't do that. Right, now that's it strung, but not tuned. I notice on this, you feed the string up, and it hits the back of the intonator, and it's hard to get it up that hill because there's a couple of little grooves. So that's a sort of small design fault. Other than that, it was quite simple feeding it through that as a block. What I particularly like is the spread of the strings. If you look there, it's the whole neck is spread right across with the strings. And this acts as a string tree, keeping it down. So I quite like this design. That I don't know what it does, but it gives a bit nice style effect to it. The action's excellent. Don't need to touch it. I'm going to tune it now, but you can tell it's a good set of pickups. Have a listen. It just goes on and on and on. That's the back humbucker. Just goes on and on. I think the strings are too low all round. I think the strings are going to have to come up because the B's got a problem. Yeah. It's okay too. Nice guitar. Pretty good. I was worried about the intonation because it's dead straight. That's pretty good. The intonators are dead straight. Usually they're sort of dog leg. Yeah, nothing wrong with the intonators. Now I'm going to stretch these strings to hell and back. So I'm not going to go crazy with the amount of pressure on them. I'm just going to stretch them 3 or 4 times to try to get them to settle down. Now I'm only going to stretch the ones that are wound. I'm not going to stretch the steel strings because that doesn't do any use. Now stretching that string has brought it down considerably. Almost a tone and a half on the A string, 2 tones on the E string. Definitely needs a stop to stop it hitting the back. Oh, no, hold on a second. No, it doesn't. Let me just have a look at this. I need to look at this closer, sorry. So what is it hitting? What is it hitting? All right, I see where it's hitting now. Do I see where it's hitting? Oh, I know where it's hitting. Right, it's hitting the... It's hitting there. It's hitting the body there, which is not a bad stop, back stop. Right, okay. Okay, let's get it up and tuned. I'm going to put a back on it, and then I'm going to send it home. Oh, and do a little demo. Particularly like the pickups. This guitar is definitely a nice guitar. And the action is excellent. Okay, now I couldn't get in there without doing damage, so I'm going to just protect it from rust. This will turn black and protect it from corroding a bit in the future. And someone who needs to take that off in the future will probably be able to take it off, but I don't need to, so I'm not going to take the chance. There you are. There is this Westone. It's White Snake Westone with all the signatures on it. Now you'll notice I haven't polished it. I've just cleaned it a little bit. Fret's nice. I haven't trimmed the heads off. And you know what else I haven't done? Well, that's all nice. I haven't put the back on. And you know why I haven't put the back on? Because I took in 24 guitars the other days and I can't get into my back room. But I will do it after I played this demo. But it's one of the nicer guitars I have had. It's up there surpassing a Fender by all means, you know. Because the pickup is just superb on these, you know. Especially that DiMaggio back pickup, very nice. As you can see, it's a lovely player. Rhythm, middle pickup, all pickups I should say, and the back pickup. Only thing I probably would have done different, I would have wired that differently so that it played the face when it was up rather than down. But I quite like it. And it looks good. I love that look. Right, I'm going to cut the strings and try to battle my way into the back and do that. But it's going home now. Lovely sustain on it. Doesn't look as nice with all those strings hanging off. I should have cut them. But anyway, it's going home. Broke my drawer because my foot was on my drawer. So more damage to be fixed. Bye. There they are with the strings cut off. It looks a little bit better. And that's it. Now going home to Daddy. So my favorite chord. Lovely, 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 lovely sustain on this. All right, bye-bye.